Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I'm your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hentz in the house. Yes. So, we've got a couple of guests tonight, one coming in remote, one also in the house. I think it's going to be an interesting evening.
I think they're both going to be very good guests.
Yeah. Our first segment, I want to talk a little bit about redistricting. Now, the redistricting committee met today.
Now you're talking about state redistricting.
We are talking about the state.
So redistricting going on.
Yes, there's redistricting everywhere. Right. So in the state of North Dakota, though, is what I'm talking about. So we have every 10 years, the way it works, so a little bit of a primer for our viewers. So there are 47 legislative districts in the state. And there doesn't need to be 47, but there has been now for a long time. And those 47 districts need to be divided roughly equally, so there's the same amount of population per district. So every 10 years, after we have the census population statistics and so forth, right, those are passed on to the states and the cities and the counties. When we have that information, then we go and say, okay, how do we redraw the lines so that each of the districts are roughly equal in population? Over these last several decades, what we have seen, of course, is an exodus from the rural areas of North Dakota into the more urban areas. And so we have seen over these past few decades, Bismarck is getting more districts, Fargo is getting more districts. The rural districts are growing in size. And the reason for that is because to have an equal amount, roughly, of population, right, the population density is getting less, they have to grow big. So you have, for instance, I forget if it's, I always get 14 and 15 mixed up, right, but you go out to central North Dakota, it's a gargantuous district. And
but the concept is that you've got two representatives and they have to represent the same amount of people so everybody has equal representation. So I understand right, it, but you're right, it's a rural-urban thing.
Well, right, and so as it's just the nature of things. The rural areas are getting less powerful, you might say, because there are more and more votes, legislative votes, in urban areas, but it's because that's where the population is. And so they met today, they're going to be discussing things. They're starting off with the idea that we're going to keep 47 districts. And what that means most likely is we will see, just like we saw last.
Lines moving.
Lines moving, not just lines moving. There will be whole districts in rural areas that just are gone, and then they will get popped into urban areas. So Bismarck will have a new district. Fargo will certainly have a new district. Mm-hmm. The Watford City area, Williston area will certainly have a new district. And other districts are going to grow, rural areas. So. But I wanted to bring up a story in the Tribune. It was yesterday. Pull up the story, please. So we have voter groups advocate, quote, fair maps in North Dakota legislative redistricting. Now, the reason I bring this up is because you may hear maybe some complaining about the fact that the makeup of the redistricting committee, 16 members, the concern is, Ellen Chaffee says specifically that there is a concern, she wants to point out, that there are 14 men and 2 women. And there's no
Is that representative of the House of Representatives, though, as well? I mean, is it?
I mean, relatively. I mean, if you're going to say it's equal, maybe there'd be 3 or even 4 women. But the point is that they're not trying to be, nor should they be trying to be gender specific. It's right, just. You pick what they want to do. More important than anything is pick it regional, geographically. Right. That's the most important thing. And maybe it's because we don't think in terms of gender and race all the time. It's like we assume it doesn't matter what your genitals are, you're going to try and do a good job.
Right.
But what we have are these little committees that have come around, and the primary one is the same committee that had the Ethics Commission and was trying to push through that initiated measure that would have put the redistricting in the hands of an ethics commission, which doesn't really make sense. And I understand what they want is to take away the power because the Republicans have so much power in the state. But here's the thing, redistricting has, by its very nature, a bit of partisanship in it. It's constrained by various court rulings, Supreme Court rulings, that you can't go out, you certainly can't change things based on race to try and draw lines around race. But the Supreme Court has said specifically you can try and protect incumbents. And that's what they don't want. So they want to take that away. Pull up our next slide here, please. the Legislative Council has put out a memorandum, a very extensive memorandum, and in it, it details a full history. You can find this on the legis.com or legis.gov website, sorry, legis.gov website. But there's a full history of redistricting in North Dakota, the various changes that have taken place, and there is in it the Supreme Court rulings, including a section on partisan gerrymandering and what they need to do to avoid any issues there.
Where would you find this on the legis.nd.gov?
So I'm sure there's plenty of routes you can get there, but what I would do, you go to the current legislative assembly,
67.
which is now, then click interim,
Okay.
then click committees, then click redistricting,
Okay.
and then you'll click on the memorandum.
I appreciate that because I'm going to have to look for it.
Yes.
And it's, yeah, you
But in here it says specifically that these 16 people need to look for compactness, contiguity.
Contiguous or contiguous.
Yes, that's contiguity here.
Yep.
Preservation of political subdivision boundaries, meaning where county lines and city lines are, try and respect those lines. Preservation of communities of interest. So in this, the most obvious would be reservations, tribal reservations. Preservation of cores of prior districts. So you can't just like start from scratch and redraw lines. You have to kind of try and keep things the way they were the best you can.
Right.
Protection of incumbents is right in there, and compliance with the Voting Rights Act. So these, they're going to have to deal with those things.
It is tough.
It's a big job. A lot of people wanted to be on there. A lot of people have come to me and said, well, are they going to try and redistrict you out, because the idea is that it's human nature to say, you know what, legislator X, Y, or Z bugs the crap out of me, as a thorn in my side. Let's see if we can make their life a little tougher by having them have to go into a runoff with another legislator, preferably another one that we also don't like. So,
that's
oh yes.
classic.
Oh, that definitely goes on. I think that's not to say though that the majority of the committee, they're going to behave with integrity, and they're going to do their job, and they're going to keep their nose to the grindstone. But some of this other stuff is going to play in there. It's going to filter in.
Right.
I personally believe that it's highly likely that Governor Buerger is back-channeling on what he wants. We know that he is very involved, as we saw in the 2020 primary, with trying to usher in legislators that he likes and trying to demolish those that he doesn't like. So it's going to be very interesting. I still have faith when I look at the makeup of the committee of 16. There's enough variety. There are enough people there that have integrity. And so it's going to be very interesting, though. People are going to find that their districts are very, very different, or they suddenly lost their district.
And that's weird then, because you're going to vote in a different location, and it's kind of confusing. So yeah, get ready.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, we'll keep you up to date on this, which, by the way, they're going to have a number of meetings. This committee is going to meet several times over the next month or two. They will have to come up with a bill. We are going to have to come back into session and vote on a bill which then is all about these new districts. And all the things that go with it. So we'll keep you informed.
It's
all
very
right.
interesting.
So next up, we have a remote-in guest, a special person you're going to be very interested to hear about. So we will be back in 2, maybe 3 minutes.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all. It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground, enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
And we're back. It's No Apologies on Beck, and we have a special guest coming up. I'm hoping that our sound is going to be fixed. It's Andi Buerger, JD, a Juris Doctor she is, and she is with an organization that is very involved with helping trafficking victims of sex trafficking. Andi, welcome to the show. Appreciate having you on. How's that sound coming?
I'm hoping it's good on your end. How is it? Was it sing?
I think it's good so far.
Okay.
So Andi, first thing, tell us about. I've been reading up on it since you agreed to come on. Tell us about your organization, its mission, and it seems as though you've got a couple of branch organizations as well. Beulah's Place. So go ahead.
Sure. Well, Beulah's Place was kind of mustard seed for Voices Against Trafficking. And I began Beulah's Place with my husband over 13 years ago to rescue the homeless teens off the streets in Oregon. And husband and I had worked with teens for a long time. We saw a real need because it's like society just them all as rebellion or runaways. And we found out that is not the issue or not the truth. So we have done that for 13 years providing temporary shelter services. And because of the success that we've had, we received a lot of national awareness and interest. And so our program has a 92% success rate once these kids have been housed, sheltered, and we have them become independent in a 3 to 5 month period of time through a safe house system. And then a couple of years ago, early in 2020, before the pandemic, I just heard, more voices. We need more voices to fight, human trafficking on all levels. And particularly children, they don't have a choice. And no victim has a choice, especially the little ones, because I came out of that ground. So Voices Against Trafficking, what we're doing is trying to create greater awareness internationally and educate people through our quarterly forums, through a book that'll be coming out later this year, our first book from Voices Against Trafficking. And also our mission is to collectively leverage our voices as one voice, and then hopefully influence legislation and lawmakers and people that may haven't done as much as they could do in the fight against all human trafficking. So that's our mission, to take organizations, individuals, nonprofits, anyone who wants to be part of the solution instead of ignoring the problem. And we will continue to do that and continue work our way through the legal system and mental health resources until we have success rates.
Okay. Andi, I'm going to ask our guys to work with you. I think we're able to get most of what you were saying. However, I'm concerned that it's so difficult to catch it because it's very, very glitchy and sort of repetitive. I'm gonna ask our guys to go offline with you just a bit to see if they can help you. Perhaps you can shut down, restart Wi-Fi. I don't know. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've read about your organization. So we're going to pull away from you just for a bit, Andi. The Voices Against Trafficking. It's voicesagainsttrafficking.com. Now, they are, from what I can understand, working with many organizations. There are, if you go to their website, voicesagainsttrafficking.com, you will see that they work with very many organizations. And it's a multi-pronged approach in which they can help victims of trafficking. And there's different types of trafficking. I'm hoping to talk with Andi more about that. There's a Zoom event, very interesting. It's an international Zoom webinar in which they will be talking about human trafficking, what they can do about it. And I think that one of the big areas of concern is Mexico. And it's so ironic because of our policy regarding the border. I think it is, and again, I hope to hear from Andi, it is sort of allowing trafficking to occur a little bit more unchecked. Now, this Beulah's Place that she was telling us a little bit about, it appears to me to be a side project, and she is working there and has developed this shelter because what you have are I think, teenagers primarily,
right,
who are in trouble and find themselves without a place to go, a person to turn to, and unfortunately when that happens, they turn to the wrong person. People, predators, find vulnerabilities and prey on those vulnerabilities. And so there is a place called Beulah's Place, beulasplace.org. And I was
looking at her website as well, and on her Beulah's Place website, she talks about her own story in a book that she has written as well, called A Fragile Thread of Hope. And so she tells her story about from where she came and how she overcame as well. So definitely be worth something to check out as well.
Yep, absolutely. So folks, we're going to take a bit of an early break here. And I'm hoping that we can reconcile these technical difficulties. So stick with us, we'll be back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit. Plus, Nathan's Hot Dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York to go. We deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back to No Apologies, your after-hours oasis of sanity. We are maintaining sanity
Yes, we
in the
are.
face of technical difficulties. So Andi Buerger, I think you've figured it out, and we're going to have you back. Again, I love your story. I'm glad we got it figured out at the last second here. So I'm going to let you. I'm sorry, Andi. Were you able to hear while you were working on things what Lori and I were speaking about before you came back?
I did hear you. I did.
Okay, so if I'm gonna give the podium back to you, if you will. If you can give our viewers a sense of what it is you're looking at. I mentioned that you've got a webinar coming up. I'd love to hear about what that's about and how you're working with your various affiliate organizations.
Absolutely. Voices Against Trafficking. If you go to voicesagainsttrafficking.com, you'll see a little bit more about us. There are helplines and hotlines, whether you're a victim or someone who feels maybe you might become an abuser or a predator. But basically what we're doing is on that forum, we do it quarterly. So 4 times a year, we present speakers, 5 to 10 minutes each from all over the world, all over the country, with ideas, solutions, what's happening to educate, to create awareness, and to inspire action for people to become part of the solution, which is not as hard as it sounds. So that is our goal and our mission, so that we can have less victims, help the ones that we do rescue and find, rehabilitate and reintegrate back into community in a healthier way, in a safer way, and then also to make sure that the predators are punished appropriately.
I like the fact that rather than just going after the problem, you are looking for solutions for people who have already been through this. I think that is a very underserved population, I'm guessing. People are all like, oh, you know what, let's go at it from the point where we're going to stop human trafficking rather than what happens afterwards. I really appreciate the fact that you're doing that.
Well, thank you. It is a tough job, but together we can. More voices, more leverage, and that's what we're looking to do. If people understood that every 40 seconds in the U.S. alone, a child is abducted, they are taken 18 years and under. They're not running away. They are being abducted because they are seen as a product. And so we want to help put a stop to that. We want to make people more aware so they don't just say, oh, it happens in that neighborhood or in that town, but not in my town. And that is not the case. We know it happens in all 50 states and in all countries really around the world. So we're passionate about it. And that was my background. So it's very personal for me, because one more person saved is another generation changed.
Yeah, that's a very good way to say it. I'm curious about some of the logistics when you are rescuing someone, when you're providing them shelter. Obviously, the majority of these, I think, are underage, although you don't have to be underage to be trafficked, right?
That's right. That's correct.
But for those that are underage, how do you work with the parents and alerting them? And if you feel that the parents are not providing the necessary care, how do you go about dealing with that?
Well, one of the ways, and that's a great question, Rick, one of the ways is that we want to go in not adversarially, but as a resource, a safe, neutral for all parties involved. We can only house the legal teams, 18 to 21, basically. I'm in Oregon, and that's what we have to do. They have to sign a contract with us. For the minors, however, DHS or Child Services, a lot of organizations call us, and we will be the hub of resources. For example, we just helped a minor teen whose teeth were so bad, it took over $10,000 just to clean up, all of her teeth, give her crowns, give her root canals, all of that stuff, because she was so neglected. and there's a lot of other issues going on. Her vision, we got her glasses. You know, we gained trust by giving the immediate needs, safety, food, clothing. She didn't have clothes that fit. And then I share a little bit of my own story, which is different because in the 60s and 70s, they didn't even talk about child abuse hardly, let alone organized child abuse. But I gained that trust with them. And from there we go, what's the plan? What can we do? How can we assist the other organizations, foster care, whoever it is that is in charge of that child at that time? Sometimes a family member will want to step up and help, but honestly, the majority of kids I see, there isn't anyone safe or healthy enough that's not an addict or an alcoholic or has issues that are so great. They really can't take care of that child.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. I see that you have an active Facebook page as well, Voices Against Trafficking, and it appears to me that that's the route to go to stay up to date on what's happening, to be involved also with the Zoom call, the international webinar, if you will. Is that one of your primary modes of communicating and driving awareness?
Absolutely. Right now, we're still a very social media dominant society, and Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those are great platforms. YouTube, we have some of our previous forums on YouTube. Go to Voices Against Trafficking on YouTube, and people can see the caliber of speakers. We've had people from Mexico that are literally tracking cartel dollars, and we've had people from, you know, the White House, the Vatican, different countries. And so our international audience is very hungry, you know, to assist and to find out what can we do as a global community, as a social community, and most importantly, how do we protect our kids? You know, when we can sell a child, you know, at the border for $3,500 and give them to anybody for any reason, to me, that is not civil.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just heartbreaking. It just makes me so sad to hear about that, because I know it exists. You don't see it, but it's there and underlying in every community. I mean, it's all over the United States as well.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter, you know, which economic status, as we've seen in national headlines, it doesn't matter how far up the chain it goes. Somebody always knows. It's whether they have the courage or the decency to say, you know what, this is really wrong and I don't want to participate in it. But where there's money, where there's greed, where there's power, and in familial trafficking, which is what happened to me, when it's a family member, which is a lot of the time doing the trafficking, then it's harder because they're covered by the bloodline. And so it's difficult to get authorities or educators to accept the fact, oh, well, that can't be it. They're just having troubles in the home. I can't tell you how many times we've had to intercede in a situation like that, because just because you share a bloodline doesn't mean you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you seeing a trend in the United States, downward or upward, versus what you're seeing in some other countries?
We are definitely, unfortunately, on the upswing. The pandemic, lockdowns, you know, unchecked lockdowns, you know, where you're not just locking down kids and families, you're locking down the predators with easy prey as well. And so that just gives them more opportunity. The other thing, people trying to get back to work, parents desperate to, you know, provide for their families. You know, after all of the last 18 months, it's been rocky for everyone. However, that means kids are left alone more of the time to be on the internet, to be on chat rooms, to be unsupervised and unchecked as to what they're seeing, who they're talking to. And while they think they're very smart, and they are most of the time, the kids are still kids at heart. They don't know who's lying to them, you know, on the chat rooms. And so we need to, as a community, as parents, guardians, as watchers, you know, be more involved with what our kids are doing and who they're doing it with.
Andi, how about the southern border? Now that the southern border is wide open, are you seeing an uptick in just southern communities and issues? Because I realize that the people who are coming across illegally are going all over the United States. I understand that, but any trends with regard to the southern border?
There are more trends. I have a counterpart, part of our members of Voices Against Trafficking. We have a couple of ladies who have set up shelters and have been working hard even before the pandemic, but they are overwrought. They cannot keep up with the number of kids coming across. And also, none of these kids are being checked for any illness, let alone COVID. So they're coming across without family, without language assistance, things like that. So the uptick in rapes and in trafficking is exponential. I don't have an exact number because we can't report it. Nobody's reporting, obviously. There's just too many coming across.
Absolutely. Well, voicesagainsttrafficking.com. Andi Buerger, I appreciate having you on. Thank you for working through the technical difficulties. I hope that our viewers are going to check out the website, look at your book and the Facebook and other social media as well. Thank you once again.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
You bet. All right, folks, we will be right back. A little over 2 minutes.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go. We deliver for you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
From Lambeau Field to your living room. Catch all the Green Bay Packers preseason games exclusively on Beck Sports. Available on KRDK, KNDB, or KNDM TV. The Pack take on the Houston Texans August 14th, followed by the New York Jets August 21st, and end off the preseason with the Buffalo Bills August 28th. Check Beck.Sports to find more scheduling and local channel information.
Welcome back. It's No Apologies on Beck, and we have special guest Joy Dahlen in the house. Joy.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Well, we're excited to have you here because we are going to talk about Charlie Kirk, and I'm very excited about that too. So there is a group called North Dakota Advocates, right?
Yes,
is that
North Dakota Conservative Advocates,
okay.
Yes.
So the North Dakota Conservative Advocates group, if you do not know, has previously brought Charlie Kirk to North Dakota before.
Yes, they brought him to Bismarck last April.
Right.
It was awesome.
I got to see it. You were there.
Yes.
It was really, really, really good and very, very fun. So now this same group is bringing Charlie Kirk back for the eastern side of the state this time.
Yes, he will be at the Avalon in Fargo. So we are super excited to have him. It's supposed to be a really fun, pumped-up event, like matching the energy of the Bismarck event.
I'm curious how many people will fit in. Is it a smaller venue? I've never been to the Avalon, so I really don't know.
I think it's a little smaller. I know last time it was 800 in attendance. I don't know if we'll have quite that many at this one. But yeah, we're super excited about it.
So anybody can go?
Yes, anybody can go. but students are highly encouraged. If you don't know anything about Charlie Kirk, he is a student activist, and he goes to many college campuses and tries to encourage conservative values. So he is all about protecting the rights of the unborn, limited government, being a strong family and faith advocate, and just trying to encourage those values on campuses, especially in areas where they're shut down. Like on a lot of college campuses, the free speech rules have come into play, and people can't even bring a conservative speaker, and he's really good about raising awareness for that.
Right. Well, I think he's the bee's knees. I've gotten to meet him, and then I saw him speak also when I went down to Dallas, and he was just fantastic there as well. The thing about him is that he's so young, but he is so sure of himself and so confident that you know that he knows what he's talking about. And he's also plugged into everything that's going on with regard to current events. I mean, I follow him on Telegram, and he's right there, Johnny, on the spot with everything that's going on. So I'm sure you'll hear things that are definitely timely when he's in Fargo. So the date again and the time so that people know.
Yes, so it'll be September 2nd at 6 p.m. at the Avalon Event Center
That
in
is
Fargo.
1 week from tonight on a Thursday evening. There you can see the information, so 6 p.m. So the doors open, I think, at 5:30 is the deal. You can get tickets. They are available online. You can see at the very bottom there. You want to talk about that?
Yes, and for student tickets, they are $25. So, and then if you are just general admission, they are $50 as of right now.
For those of you who do not know who Charlie Kirk is, I thought we would just show a little clip so that people could see what he is all about. And this clip is interesting in that it was taken at the Belle Mayhews when he was here in Bismarck. Now, this clip is really interesting also because on Facebook it has been viewed 2 million times.
No kidding.
No joke.
Wow.
So here's a little taste of what Charlie Kirk brings to the table. Roll tape, please.
What are some arguments against the argument, it's my body, it's my choice, my journey, not yours? I have a tough time with that argument, but I was just wondering if there's any counter arguments to that.
First of all, thank you. I'm going to help you right now. I'm going to give you a one-liner. If it's not your DNA, it's not your choice. So it's a separate point of DNA. And I actually got that one-liner, and I'll give you a couple more. I've done a lot. So I actually got that. I was at the March for Life last year before all the lockdowns, and there was this 8-year-old girl with this sign, and it said that if it's not your DNA, it's not your choice. I said there is more wisdom on that sign than the entire Harvard faculty. I said that one sign is just awesome, and it's true. What is conception? It's when DNA is formed. That is a scientific fact. A heartbeat begins as early as 21 days. Some people say 6 weeks. It depends how you define a heartbeat. 21 days is legitimately when the heartbeat begins. Here's a couple thought-provoking questions. Not your journey, not your choice. I actually haven't heard that one. That one's interesting and new. Why is it that when a pregnant mother gets murdered, we count it as a double homicide? Why is it that when a pregnant mother has a baby shower, not a fetus shower, that she could all of a sudden decide then to go to an abortion clinic right after that and decide to terminate that pregnancy? So what really we're debating here is a subjective view or an objective view of life. That's basically what we're debating. And so we have a lot of ways in America we actually have come to a consensus of when life ends. We have no consensus of when life begins. That's probably an even more important question. It's a fundamental question of who we are. And so we know when life begins. It's when deoxyribonucleic acid is formed, and that's never going to happen again. It's when the sperm and egg meet. It's a magical moment that only, quite honestly, can't be explained by science, but a belief in a creator who loves us and wants us to be able to reproduce because we're made in his image.
Yeah, he's very good. His logic, I've watched him for a few years now, and I was just blown away, and frankly, a little envious. Because he just, I mean, my gosh, when I was his age, I was beer and girls. And he's we're just light years ahead of me.
Right.
You know, he made some very strong statements after he was at the Belle Mayhews regarding the bills that we had in the legislature, Joy, regarding protecting women's sports, which some people refer to as transgender bill, and then also the masking mandate. And he took after Governor Buerger. Are you aware of that?
Oh, no.
Yeah, he said he should turn in his Republican membership.
Wow.
That's strong.
Yeah.
That is very, very strong. And that's one of the things that I like about Charlie is he stands on principle. It doesn't matter who stands opposed to it. You either are for it or you're not. You're either with him or you're against him. I love that. Have you heard any pushback in the community for having Charlie on, who's known conservative? Are you hearing anything negative?
I have not as of yet. In speaking with a lot, I go to school at NDSU, and speaking with a lot of students, a lot of them are very for free speech. They even may be more liberal-minded, yet they really do believe that everyone should have a voice. And so I haven't seen a lot of pushback with this event, but I definitely know I've spoken with other students in other campuses. It is a bigger deal, maybe not so much here, but in other areas. And I actually more faculty pushback I've seen in my experience in the classroom. I've had a few teachers teach more socialistic ideals without showing the other side and not clarifying that it's an opinion.
Yeah, well, I believe that.
I've got a little personal information about Charlie Kirk. I'm not stalking him, but I do watch Instagram and I follow him on Insta. And he got married recently. It was like totally under the radar.
Really?
Yes, very, very quiet. But he married a beautiful, beautiful girl, lovely, lovely girl. And so he's a newlywed. He resides in Phoenix, Arizona. So he's from Phoenix. So he will come here for heaven knows, because he's all over the country all the time. He has an amazing podcast. He has so many social media channels that if you've never heard of him, it's amazing to me because he's all over the place.
Yes, and he has so many opportunities for students. I have personally attended Turning Point Student Action Summit 3 times now, and it's just an amazing experience where you get to hear from speakers, I mean, from all over the country, different representatives. I know DeSantis has spoken in the past.
Candace Owens is kind of his buddy, too.
Very much so. I just heard her back this July when I was in Tampa. So it's just, he's just amazing at spreading conservative values as well as bringing other conservatives on board. I think he's really strengthened and brought up people like Madison Cawthorn and just allowed young people to see that conservatives can have a voice.
Right, exactly. Well, for those people who are in Fargo who have kids that they think, okay, this would be, you think students should go. Now, do you get a price break for student tickets?
Yes, that is the $25 ticket. So instead, it's half off for students.
Super cool.
So.
And then usually the way it went at the Bell anyway is they get the front rows.
Yes.
As well. Is that
they're trying to make it so that as many students get the best seats as possible. Because this, Charlie Kirk is very much, he's geared towards everybody. I think anybody can listen to him and have amazing experience. But that's really where his passion was when he started Turning Point USA, is to be and reach students and just spread that conservative value to them. Because I feel like that's where he felt it was under attack. And it's under attack everywhere. But
it's a great way to start. I mean, it really is with the youth. Because in our... Yeah, how many times when we have been out doing an on location have we just been blown away by?
Well, that's the thing is I think that especially Gen Zers, they're open to this. And so Charlie, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, is reaching the young people, the next generation, and that's what it's going to take to try and turn things around because we have been headed in the wrong direction for so very, very long. So
let's go over one more time. If you guys would mind pulling up the poster, we can look at that again and let people, ruminate on when it is and where it's at. And where is the Avalon located? Is it? I don't know. I'm not familiar with it, unfortunately. It doesn't say on there, but I'm sure you can get more information if you go to conservativeadvocates.org, as you see on the bottom of the screen there too. September 2nd, a week from tonight, and that is in Fargo at the Avalon Event Center. So thank you, Joy. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, Joy, thank you very much for an NDSU student, because I'm from UND. For an NDSU student,
you're one of those.
you're a very good representative for the organization, and
you know what? I just realized we were going to try to talk a little bit about the mask thing you have. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Oh yes. So
here, wait, Joy. I guess Lori wants to have you for the next segment if you're willing. So, folks, we're going to come back. I'm not. I thought I was running the show. I'm not.
I just realized that.
Come back in a couple of minutes. Blah 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 blah.
Okay. We'll be right back. Is that just live?
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong. in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all. Spas, etc.
You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you could pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
All right, we're back. It's no apologies. I do have almost an apology to Rob Port.
What?
Yes, Rob said that our show is a train wreck of a TV show, and clearly, Rob, you are right.
Okay.
It is a train wreck. So let's just go on.
All right, this is my fault, though. This is, operator error.
Well, you don't need to say it. Everyone knows it's your fault. So Lori commandeered the show, and Joy Dahlen is going to tell us about something else like that we're going to, yes.
The deal, she just mentioned to me that they are doing something at NDSU, and somebody else had sent me this week something about UND doing the same sort of thing at the same time. So go ahead.
Yes, so at NDSU, we are doing a march through campus regarding the mask requirement. Now, we are pro-choice for wearing masks, so we're not anti-mask. We just think you should have the choice in the classroom as to whether or not you wear them, instead of just blindly forcing all professors to require them. That's what happened at NDSU.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will be Monday, August 30th at 5 p.m. And we'll just be doing a march through campus is just to show that students are against this and just want the freedoms and choice that they should have living in America.
Right,
So-
you should be able to choose. So you also have a change.org petition.
Correct.
From NDSU too. Now, I haven't checked it today, but the last time it was getting really close to like 2,500 signatures.
Yes. And I don't think I've checked on that one today as of yet, but I know it's been a big thing throughout Fargo and North Dakota that students really do, 2,456 signatures.
Okay.
And that's a huge number of people that really just disagree with this. And I think it'd just be so much better if it was just a recommendation, not a requirement. And I think that's where it needs to go.
Right. I also think that in UND, they are kind of going through the same sort of thing, because I looked, and sure enough, and I believe that Claire Corey is working on this one at UND as well. So this is another opportunity for people to just sign a petition if you're at one of those schools. And, you know, if you're at UND, you've got a little ways to go for what NDSU is doing, but I think they just started it perhaps a little bit later than y'all did. So are you getting... from the kids that you interact with at NDSU, is there consensus, or is it evenly split? I mean, there's always going to be people on both sides, but the whole question is, do you get to choose one of those sides?
Right. And I would say that actually depends on the college you're in. I am currently in the College of Health Professions, and there I would feel like a lot more students seem to be, you know, we should be wearing masks. And then you go to a lot of other colleges, you know, engineering, business, agriculture, they're not as big on the mask, like even the professors themselves, you know. But I just think it should be that choice piece should be there.
So the professors are required to?
Right, so basically when back in June, they lifted all restrictions for masks. And then they were just going to say individual professors can require them if necessary. And then about a week before classes started, they revoked that. Instead of having a strong recommendation, they changed it to a required in all classrooms. And I'm going, why did you do that? I mean, I think a lot more students be receptive if certain professors would prefer to have you wear masks. And I think most people were receptive to that. But then now blatantly requiring all professors to have the mask requirement is what really set off the petition.
Crazy. So August 30th, 5 p.m. What day of the week is that?
Monday.
It's Monday.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So listen, off the cuff is what we're going to move to next. And Lori is going to do an off the cuff, and Joy and I are both going to tackle it.
Okay.
So.
All right, let's start with, we are starting with a video today.
Okay.
This video was an NRSC compilation ad that I came across. It didn't look like from the YouTube video that it had been disseminated very much or viewed very many times, but I stumbled on this and I wanted your take on it. Let's run this NRSC ad.
Planned withdrawal of U.S. troops is now devolving into chaos.
A tragic foreign policy disaster.
Joe Biden is going to be the face of the failure of the withdrawal.
A fiasco, a debacle.
The outcome, I think, is catastrophic.
Clearly an intelligence failure.
Utter failure.
You know, I spent my whole life doing national security and foreign policy. And the Taliban has now returned to power for the first time in nearly 2 decades.
The Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
Taliban fighters have flooded the capital. Smiling and victorious, they took this city of 6 million people in a matter of hours.
The Taliban is not remotely comparable in terms of capability.
They're just chanting death to America. There are terrified people. The Taliban are going door to door looking for those who had worked with the Americans, and they are looking already for retribution.
There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy of the United States from Afghanistan.
Helicopters racing to evacuate personnel from the U.S. Embassy.
Don't you bear some responsibility for the outcome if the Taliban ends up back in control?
No, I don't. Do I bear responsibility? Zero responsibility.
Okay, Lori, what's the question?
Zero responsibility, mind you. Now, I want to point out that was CNN, the AP, NBC, New York Times headline. Those are not the right-leaning media that are those clips that you are seeing there, too. So my question is this legitimately an epic foreign policy failure? Today we heard that there were casualties in the 14-person armed services range.
Okay, Joy, do you want to take this, or this? We're thrusting this on you, so I can take it first if you want.
I'll let you take your spin first.
This is an utter failure, and it does not have anything to do with Joe Biden specifically or Democrat administration. This is inarguably a failure. It's an embarrassment, and I think that we all should be ashamed of the U.S. policy and what we have done in Afghanistan and what we are doing leaving our allies. When you hear of what's happening around the world, people talked about, again, I don't want to make this partisan, but people were so concerned about Donald Trump isolating us from other countries and making enemies in other countries who were previously our allies. Our allies are shocked. We will not, for decades, we will not have the same relationships that we had with our allies because they realize now that they cannot count on us. We have abandoned ship. It's an embarrassment. I am ashamed. I
guess I take a little bit of a different take on that. I do not think we should have pulled out of Afghanistan either in this way or this manner. But I also debated whether we should have been there in the first place. Honestly, I think I take a little bit more of an isolationist view. I think for the United States for so long has been protecting a lot of nations, and I don't know exactly why we were there in the first place. And I think there was a lot more going on behind the scenes that we were doing for our own benefit there, when we should have just left them alone and let them deal. And then now that we're there, we've created these issues, and that we're finally leaving and leaving them in a mess.
Yep. You are exactly right. We agree 100%. We've got two aspects. One was it was never going to be a success. It didn't matter what president, what party, it was not going to be a success. Afghanistan was doomed to failure. But the epic proportions of the failure and how, you use the word the manner, right? The manner in which we withdrew has, in my opinion, frankly been the specific reason we have deaths of, I think, 10 or 12 or 14 of our military today, as well as 60 or more Afghans. It's unbelievable. But you bring up a great point, and I think it's brilliant that it's coming from a young person. When you said, I'm not sure why we are even over there in the first place, because that is a bit of true honesty and a bit of introspection that we should do all across the United States. And I have implored our viewers to talk about this to their teenagers and their preteens, so that we don't do this again. Think of the lives that were lost. I mean, not to mention the money, forget the money, but I mean, unbelievable mistake, and what an embarrassment at this point in time.
I only read once today, somebody said that the aides of Biden implored him to do elsewhere, but they actually, I take that back, they were too afraid to tell him that this was a bad idea.
Too afraid. That's a bad leader. And
Yeah.
this is an actual reason for impeachment. But all right, folks, tomorrow we will be back
with an encore presentation.
With an encore presentation. It's going to be a doozy. Tune in.
And we'll see you on Monday.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.